This tutorial demonstrates how to create a new user profile in a database. For this tutorial, we are using the sample code test database that is included with all BraceNet installations. We log in with the admin profile. From the administration menu, select User Profiles. We can select existing profiles to edit, but here we will be entering a brand new employee. We enter a profile ID and the profile name. Our new name is Newbie Person, and we will set the profile to active so this profile will be able to log in. An inactive profile still exists, but the user cannot log in. We next assign a menu code to this profile. The assigned menu code determines the menu options that will be available to the user upon login. We will select a menu code that contains the menu options that this user will require. From the administration menu, select Menu Groups. Here we can see our menu codes. We enter our menu name GL Entry. On the right-hand side, we can see all the included options under this menu name. Any user with this menu name associated with this user profile will see only the options included in the Included Options section. A menu name can be specified for an individual user as well. We could have set this user up with a Newbie menu name, for example, which included only the menu options that the Newbie user should have. Changes to the included options for a menu code will be reflected on the next user's sign-on for all users that are assigned that menu name. Enter the email address to which exports will be sent if this user is permitted to export. We will check Permit Export to allow this user to export reports. Next, we enter the password for this user. This password will need to be changed upon first login. Click Flicker or Beep to highlight when a status message is received. The group codes can be assigned to restrict the user to members of this group. For example, if you wanted to restrict a user to a particular company, you would assign them to a company group. In code values, we can see the different company groups that have been defined. The company group code is led group. Remember, in BraceNet, a ledger and a company are synonymous. We'll select the ledger group, and here we see that there was one group defined with 3 companies inside the group. It is called Group All. Any user profile that is assigned to that ledger group would only be allowed to work within those 3 companies that are listed in that ledger group. If you wanted to secure a user to one company, you could create a company group that only included one company. For example, we want to restrict our Newbie user to Company 100. Since there is no ledger group defined for Company 100, we'll create our own. We'll call the ledger group code Co 100. We add the code value 100 to the group and save it. Now, any profile with the ledger group Co100 assigned in the company group field in its user profile will only be allowed to work in the Company 100. Check Restrict Periods to restrict entry to accounting periods. A 0 in periods prior and periods after would restrict that user to the current accounting period as set in the company's display. We save the profile and see that the user Newbie has been saved with an active status. The Subsystem tabs permit edit of user restrictions that are applicable to that subsystem. For example, in the Accounts Payable subsystem, you might want to restrict a user profile to a particular set of banks, or maybe a specific set of vendors that they would be allowed to work with, in which case you could assign a vendor class group to restrict the user to a particular set of vendors. Each subsystem has its own set of group codes that are available to fine-tune authorizations for the user. The Defaults tab controls additional display items in the user session, such as graphs or whether they see additional secure sites on their session. The Notes tab allows for entry of additional free-form information or attachment that might be relevant to the user. If you recall, when we log in as the admin profile, we see multiple graphs displayed. If we review the admin profile and enter the Defaults tab, we see that the admin profile has all 6 graphs defined. Check Large Graphs to display 3 lines with 2 graphs per line, or uncheck it to show 2 lines with 3 graphs per line. Let's add a couple graphs to the new Newbie session. Let's also add a secure site to Newbie's session. This will help Newbie answer any accounting questions with the new job. We save our profile, and now we will log in to the new Newbie profile. We can now log in with the new Newbie profile to verify the profile setup. We first see that the secure session that we added is now visible in the user's display. We will click the Refresh Graphs button to generate our graphs. And we see that the 2 new large graphs that have been defined are now visible in the user session. Next, we will verify that the user only has the menu options that we wanted to authorize to this particular user. We see there are no setup options available, but he does have a complete set of general ledger entry options. Checking the other subsystems, we see that there are no accounts payable menu options available. Accounts receivable, similarly, nothing has been assigned. Shared options, nothing is authorized. And administration, only the reset password option is available. If you recall, we removed the BraceNet privacy policy from the menu item code that this user was using. It appears that this user has the proper menu authorizations. Checking to see if there is anyone for this user to speak with on the system. Since he's all alone, it looks like it's time for this user to start to do some work. In this tutorial, you've learned how to enter a new user profile, configure a menu group, update security group codes, and set user display defaults. Please post any questions or email us at support@bracenet.com. Thanks for watching.